In this video, I'll talk about the second most important meeting of my week, the team meeting. Firstly, I'll explain to you why this meeting is so important. Secondly, I'm going to talk about the structure of the meeting. So the preparation before the meeting, during the meeting, and what happens after the meeting. Thirdly, I'm going to talk to you about when to have the meeting. Firstly, it gives a team the plan for the upcoming week, month, or quarter, depending really on the time that you're having the meeting and what week the meeting is at. If it's in the first week of the month, you'll also probably have the monthly goals. If it's in the first week of the quarter, you may actually include the quarterly goals. Secondly, you're going to align all of the tasks, projects that your team has and that each individual has. They're going to report to you on where they are, what they're doing, so that pretty much everybody in the team understands what everybody else is doing and how their own individual tasks are helping the whole team to succeed. It's also going to provide accountability for yourself and each member of your team. So when they present their parts, you're going to be able to see where they are, what they're doing, and also everybody else around them. Next, you're also going to be able to talk about the challenges and issues that each one of your team members or the team is facing, and you're going to be able to resolve them or provide guidance to each team member on what they should do to resolve it themselves. The next thing, the wins for the week, for the month, for the quarter, for the whole team, each individual. You want each team member to present the best version of themselves and to celebrate the wins of the whole team and every individual, because that's going to increase morale, increase loyalty, and increase team cohesion, which you want to do in any case. At the same time, during these meetings, you're going to be building the team culture, team cohesion, and the team loyalty to each other, which in the end is your final goal. You want the whole team to be as one, each individual to be working towards the goals of the team, and as a result, towards the goals of everybody else. So you're going to be this cohesive unit that's going to be able to accomplish anything in their path. And each and every one of you, as a result, is going to be better at their jobs, better professionally, better personally, and they're going to achieve all of their individual goals that they aspire to. At the same time, when you're having these weekly meetings, you're going to be building consistency. Each team member will know that this meeting is coming, that it's super important that they participate in this meeting and they give it their best. You're also going to be showing them how important it is to function as a team and making sure that the whole team knows that they either succeed together or fail together, not as individuals. And finally, you're going to be building a team identity, which is one of the most important things for you as a team leader, department leader, whatever leader and manager you are. Because without the team's identity, nothing's going to work. You're going to be creating cohesive team and unit, which is going to achieve and exceed any expectations of yourselves, the company, and everybody else around them. You're either going to fail or succeed as a team, and your success or failure is going to be dependent on the team that you lead. It's not going to be dependent on your individual basis. You can be the best individual, but if your team doesn't succeed, you also don't succeed, and you're going to fail. First is the preparation time. It can happen throughout the week or the day before, depending on what team I'm leading, whether if it's a project-based team, whether if it's a task-based team, it really depends here. But in general, what's going to happen is each one of my team members is going to have to fill in a document. So for our team meeting notes, I do a similar thing that I do with one-on-ones. So here is team meeting notes. I usually have the name of the team or whatever, or just having it team meeting notes. It doesn't really matter. And I'll do the same thing. So I'll have the date, and let's say we have our meeting on Tuesday, and okay, so it's going to be December 3rd, and I'm going to have the person. Okay. So we have one Jane, we have one John, and then we have another John, and then myself. And pretty much the process is the same. So throughout the week, people are going to be coming in here and actually putting in their issues or what they want to talk about, the updates on their projects or updates on their tasks. If they need us to discuss anything, I'm going to be doing the same. So let's say here I want to update project 1, and then let's say we have 2 projects. I'm going to want to update project 2, and then I'm going to have really important updates for the team, and then some questions, right? So question 1, 2, 3, and whatever. So I'm always going to be the last one to speak. I will let all of the other team members speak first because I want them to tell me everything before. I don't want to take over the conversation. The only time I'm going to be the first one to speak is if there's some really important updates that I need to give to the team, or that I know that several team members had the same question that I need to address, and I'm just going to address it first. Other than that, I just let all of them have their talking points and make sure that they have everything that they need to be successful in this upcoming week. One other thing that I do is, let's say if a person has something here that, let's say they have this question and it's a really simple answer. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this, and I will do it like this and put in answer to the question. So that I already provide the answer so that the person can read it. Hey, do you have any follow-up questions? Okay, no, so we can move on, because I really don't want to spend time with questions that can be answered via email, via text, or something like that. I really want to focus on the important questions for the team. So when we're talking through all of these questions, issues, updates, what we're also going to be doing, update project 1 for me, then it's going to be a deadline for the next task. And it's going to be at, let's say I need to do this. It's going to be on me, and it's going to be on the, let's say I need to complete it by December 2nd. And that's it. So now I know that it's a task for me and I need to complete it by December 2nd. And that's the same thing is going to go, let's say Jay needs to complete some part of a project or some question. We're also always going to say at this person at this date so that they know that's their deadline. So the amount of documentation, dashboards, or whatever info that they need to fill in also depends on the company that I'm with. If the company requires specific tables to be filled, so whether that's Excel or some specific documents, we're also going to be, of course, filling this. But if there's no requirements, I'm always going to stick to the most simplest things that works for me, which is a Google or a Word doc, and everybody else just putting the information in. For me, based on my personal experience, that's been the easiest way to do it without wasting anybody else's time. What I always expect from my team is that they're going to be straightforward with me and that they won't cover anything that they have. I will always want to be appraised of the situation that they're in, if they have any issues, any challenges. And even if I don't need to help them at that point, I'll still expect them to tell me, FYI, this is what's happening. I just want to let you know. And I'm working on it. This is my plan, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. Let's now go into the meeting itself. So first, we always go into any critical things that there are. So if I want to tell the team something that's really critically important, I'll actually start talking there and take over the meeting and say, hey, this is what we need to do. This is what's important. And pretty much we're going to go from there. Then if any other team member has anything critical that they want to discuss, or any issues or challenges that they deem are really important, we're going to be discussing these also here. Next, we're going to go into any of the KPIs that we have, what's going on, what's good, what's concerning, what can we improve, or any other insights that any one of us has that we can resolve as a team, or what we can do during the next week to see how we can improve this or this. As an example, when I was running operations for a food delivery company, if our delivery times went up by 1 or 2 minutes that week, that could have been concerning. We would have looked at it. Hey, why was it maybe bad weather? How can we explain this so that we know what's happening? Maybe it could only be a fluke, but could it be a trend that we need to take care of? If our costs went up, why did this happen? So why is our cost per order higher than it was before? On which phase it was higher, maybe even which hours was it higher, so we can see and that we can interpret and analyze the data so that we can in the end resolve it or see what other insights we could actually get from it. And then the next thing is we're going to be following the doc that we all prepared, and we're going to go one by one through each one of our team members. Most of the time, I'm going to be talking last because I want each of my individual team members to talk first, and I cover everything else that wasn't covered before. The only exception is when I know that there's something really important that we need to cover before so that we don't run out of time. And then when I'm done, it's pretty much free for all. It's, hey, does anybody have any questions? anything else on their minds or just a little bit chit chat after the meeting. What I want to reiterate here is that during these meetings, we don't talk about the regular tasks that each and every individual has every week, unless there's something different. But we will not be talking, hey, I need to fill out this spreadsheet on this day. It was filled out correctly and all of that. Hey, I've done this task. I've done this task. There's just a regular weekly task. We never talk about this unless there's an issue, a challenge, or something like that that really needs to be resolved. Otherwise, it's just a waste of our time. After the meeting is done, there's going to be some actions that we're going to need to do to make sure that everything is as it should be. So the first one is we're going to be sending out a recap of the whole meeting. Who's going to be sending this out? It really depends on the way I have my team structured. Sometimes I send it, but most often I have somebody else doing my meeting minutes and filling out the doc and everything else. The second thing is everybody is going to execute the week based on what we discussed and based on what their tasks are. The third part is I'm going to make sure that everybody's going to be accountable for what they said or what they committed to, and I'm going to supervise them as well. And I'm always going to be there helping them. But my main task as a manager and a leader is to help them and to make them better and to give them all of the resources they need to succeed during the week, first as individuals and then as a whole team. Let's talk about the times when I have this meeting. So normally I'm going to have this meeting either Monday or Tuesday. Most likely I'm going to be having it on Tuesdays because Mondays are reserved for my one-on-ones with each individual team member. Having meetings on Tuesdays enables me and each individual to already have our one-on-ones so that we're aligned on an individual basis, what they need to do. And then when we actually get to the team meeting, everybody has a clarity on what's going on so that they can report to the whole team and so that the whole team understands what they're going to be doing. In the beginning, I am going to be the one that's going to be running the meeting. And then in the end, of course, I'm going to be sending out an email recap of what was happening and what have we agreed upon. As time goes on, what I'll always do is I'm going to be outsourcing this job to somebody else. That's probably going to be somebody that either has really good admin skills, that is really organized and can coordinate this on my behalf. So the reason why I do this is because I really want my line to be clear of any other distractions, and I can actually think about what the person is actually saying, and I can respond more clearly, and I can think more clearly than me also having to type it in to lose my train of thought. So the other thing that I'll also do is that the person is going to be leading the meeting and coordinating it is going to be the person that pretty much designate is my successor. When I'm going to be done with this position and I'm going to go do something else, this person should be the natural successor to me and should be promoted to this position. The last thing that I really want to emphasize is that you really want to minimize any admin that you or your team need to do for this meeting. So that's why I always have only one Word doc, if at all possible, and everybody fills it in the way they like it. I'm going to provide them some guidelines, but not that much, because I'll always expect that they're going to be doing the talking. So they don't need to fill out full sentences because it's a waste of everybody's time. What I just told you in this video should be used as a blueprint. I always refine it based on each of my individual team members' preferences, my preferences, what the company wants me to do, what the industry is, and what works best pretty much. I never just stick to one blueprint and just want to make it work. I will refine it, align it based on all of the other factors around it. You'll also be able to see quickly what works and what doesn't for you and your team. Be willing to try different approaches, what works, what doesn't work, especially in the beginning months of your leadership and management journey. Try new things. Not all of them will work. Some of them are going to fail miserably. There's nothing bad in this. You tried it. Now you refine it. You see what works, what doesn't. And then in the end, you're going to get to the structure and blueprint that works really well for you, your team, and pretty much the whole company. I want to emphasize again, have these meetings regularly. Have them every week. Don't let that go aside just because you think you have more important meetings than this. Nothing is more important than this meeting and the one-on-ones that I've covered in the previous video. And lastly, use the simplest format as possible. Don't overcomplicate things. Don't use 20 Excels, 10 spreadsheets, 5 Word documents that everybody has to fill in, because it's just going to cause chaos and it's going to make you and the team suffer. If you can't use one single file, one single doc, one single Excel, it doesn't really matter what you use. Just make sure that you have accountability and that it is simple to use for you and your team. Do not overcomplicate things.